give a warm welcome to Marco. Marco!
Hello, everyone. Sorry, connectivity problems at the last second. Leo, how are you doing? It's been long.
Good, Marco. Yeah, I was like, wow, blast from the past. Great to see you.
I'm happy to see you as well. Annette, pleasure to meet you. Christine, of course, I know you. I see a few familiar faces. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you back. So thank you for joining us. Hugo, how are you?
Very good, sir.
Perfect. So, funny story, when I moved to the US back in 2006, I moved in dual degree opportunity between FIU and Universidad del Norte in Barranquilla, Colombia. And the first real internship or work opportunity that I had was with American Express at that time under Leo, because Leo was already working with American Express and partnered with FIU to actually give the students some senior design projects. So one of our classmates was actually working with Leo as an intern. And then Leo gave us the opportunity to develop this simulation model for the exceptions process of the payment operation. And that was kind of like my first exposure to professional experience in the US and in Miami in particular. So of course, it's a great memory, Leo. So I'm happy to see you. So as you all know, the goal here today is to get into a conversation with these 4 panelists that have agreed to share with us their experiences when it comes to career transitions, but particularly career transitions within a different industry. And it reminds us of the prior seminar that we had maybe about a year back with Carol Hernandez, in which he had also done a career transition and even actually changed cities. So some of the questions are going to be very similar, and we're going to address those questions to the 4 panelists, hoping that they could share with us a quick insight of, how did they address that opportunity or challenge, or how did that opportunity come or came. So I don't think that, and correct me if this happened already, but have you given yourself an introduction to the group speakers? Do you want to do that from your own, and then I'll go ahead and take the lead here?
Marquito, we were definitely waiting for you. So we can definitely get started with those introductions, and I'd be happy to get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Tarud. I am a mechanical engineering. I have a minor in robotics engineering and a master's in engineering management. I am heavily involved in the aviation industry, and my transition has been into risk management. So we can discuss a little bit more further. I've been through mechanical engineering, product design, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma processes, and like I said, now currently transitioned into risk management.
Thank you, Christine. I guess we're gonna take Leo next.
Yeah, hello everybody, good evening, and thank you for joining. My name is Leo Gomez. I am an industrial and systems engineer from FIU, graduated in 2002. I went straight into a master's program of a background in engineering management. I graduated in 2004. I was here as an international student with a student visa. I'm originally from Venezuela. And towards the end of my master's degree, I needed to build some experience on my resume. I had all these academic, credentials, but no real work experience. So I landed an internship with American Express for the summer, part-time summer internship in the summer of 2003, thinking I was getting American Express on my resume and see where life would take me. And then in the blink of an eye, I spent the next 18 years at American Express, held a variety of roles. I started as an entry-level industrial engineer, process improvement, and then moved around the company quite a bit. And then just late last year, on this time last year, I transitioned to Target Corporation, and I lead a team of service delivery enablement, so a lot of support functions for the service centers of Target globally. And yeah, it's a little bit about my background, and looking forward to sharing more as we carry forward with the conversation. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, Leo. I think I'm going to give the mic to Annette at this point.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Annette Galarza. I am from Puerto Rico. I am also an industrial engineer from the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez campus, very well known there. And I graduated in 2005, and I immediately went into the pharmaceutical industry. So I started working in McNeil Consumer, which is basically where the Tylenol and Motrin is made. After that, I moved into a medical device industry where there I was working on the line manufacturing line for the leads that go connected to your from the heart into the pacemaker. After that, I mean, in Puerto Rico, everything was going very, very well. I was very happy with the jobs that I was performing. I was enjoying it every single day. And then my fiance back then moved to the United States. So it was time for me to look for new opportunities. And luckily enough, at that moment, I transitioned into same company, but they had a facility in Doral, so it worked out very well. I continued working on the medical device industry, but then after a year, I wanted to change, and I went from that into the American Express company as well, in the financial industry, customer service, something completely different. There I spent 14 years from industrial engineering work, where I was able to use my manufacturing experience there. I applied lean concepts into a process that was completely manual. And then I got into a manager role. I did a lot of robotics, automation. Then I did a lot of project management and managing a couple of new platforms in the company. And most recently, now I'm a director of operations. So now it's another change, and I'm working with ADP at the moment in the human capital management group, which is basically like a human resources, leaves and compliance. So something completely different. So I have gone through different experiences that each of them helped me to get to the next one, and more to talk in a bit.
Thank you, Annette. And for our audience convenience, I summarized before this call a few highlights of each of the speakers' transitions in their careers, so that by the time that we go through them, we emphasize on that latest significant transition that is pretty much where we're going to get the most value and benefit. So before I do that, last but not least, Hugo, and thank you again, Annette.
All right, good evening. I'm Hugo Cordova. I graduated actually a long time ago. I won't tell you. I graduated from the New Jersey Institute of Technology as an industrial and systems engineer, and I also have a master's in operations management and an MBA. I love books. They're nerdy on my side. I started actually my career as an IE with working for UPS, and then I transitioned into FedEx. Not surprising. I spent at FedEx for almost about 15 years in different roles. I did we call it final mile now, but was supporting pickup and delivery operations, airport operations, and then I went to within US, and then I was actually assigned to as an industrial engineer to work for Latin America. And then actually after that, I transitioned actually to work for the telecommunications industry, working for a company called Brightstar in process improvement, and also as a green belt. I worked for them for about almost 2 years. And then I went into retail. All right, so that was fun, where I spent almost 10 years working for a company that we do all the logistics and distribution here from the US, but the actual I guess warehouses or clubs are actually located throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. The company is called PriceSmart. I know many of you know them, especially people that are in Colombia or from Central America. And as I said, I spent 10 years. The business model of PriceSmart was just very similar to Costco. As a matter of fact, they were both one company at one point, and then they split about 20 years ago. So Costco is here in the US, and PriceSmart is in Latam. After 10 years, okay, so I did my final transition into medical device manufacturing. Actually, I'm working for a company that is headquartered in New Jersey. I just joined them about 2 months ago to be exact. It's called Becton Dickinson, and I'm a manager of supply chain solutions. Pretty much responsible for we have what we call control tower operations, where we oversee the end-to-end supply chain activities with a team of other engineers. And that's where I'm at right now. So I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to speaking to all of you and expanding more on my experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugo. So we always start with the same question, and even though most of the answers are similar, what we've noticed is that it also drives or explains some of the passions of the speakers and how they've carried that passion through their different industries and jobs. So with that being said, the first question that we ask, and given that we have a diverse audience, is what led you to choose engineering as your professional career? And, we just want a 1 minute quick answer that tells us, what is it that, you envision when you move into this career, and how that, vision continues to this day. So in the same order, Christine.
Excellent. Yes, and mechanical engineering. So it's difficult to answer that question with one quick answer, but I'll do my best. I come from a family of engineers. So just growing up, it was the right next step. And I always found a passion on the creative side, designing and developing and improving. So I think it's something that really is born within you. Call it family heritage, or call it that extra chip you have, but you have to have a passion for it, because there's a lot of subjects that you have to see, right, that a lot of people don't like taking. So definitely has to be something that, it's a calling.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, Leo, for you.
Yeah, interestingly, so my dad's also an industrial engineer in Venezuela. It's kind of grew up knowing about it. He was an industrial engineer, but an entrepreneur. He started his own business, and he was kind of his own business owner. But I always loved math, problem solving, logic, and it became like a natural thing. So when I first came here, that's where I explored, and I fell in love with it. And I'm the oldest of 3 siblings. All 3 of us became industrial engineers, by the way. And then I'm married to an engineer. My father-in-law is an engineer. My brother-in-law is an engineer. So I'm surrounded by engineers. So it's kind of running in the blood.
Thank you, Leo. Annette.
All right. So to go to a point, it was an STEM project that I did when I was in 8th grade. It was basically an invention. So I did like a steamer, that what today is a steamer, but back then it was just, I did like a tube that I filled with water. That helped me to connect like an electricity to it. We turned it on, and then we connected like a flexible tube that then we made holes, and water was coming out of it, and we ironed the clothes. So I did that when I was in 8th grade. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a psychologist, a doctor, something around medicine. And it didn't make sense. People were telling me like, why you're gonna go that route? Like, you always inventing, doing something different. You like to do other stuff. So that's why I'm like, okay, I better go to engineering. So I think people surrounding me were the ones that opened my eyes that I should follow this route, and I don't regret it at all.
Thank you, Annette. And then Hugo.
Man, I tell you this, I blame it on UPS. That really got me into it. I mean, they had a big IE department, right? And it was actually great to to see these guys working in different areas within and back then actually I started supporting engineering, but within a hub location. So you can imagine how big it was and the dynamics. It was almost a 24-hour, 7-day operation. So that in combination with what I saw at school with senior IEs actually got me really into it, along as well as talking to professors and so forth. But one thing I always loved about it is that combination of, I always said it's a people side and science, right? And I think that I always love that combo, and I, you know, I after 20 plus years, I am still here and I still love it.
Thank you, Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer to that question is a funny one, and it's probably gonna take less than 1 minute if I summarize it. But my father is is a mechanical engineer, and he's always been independent for many years. Whereas my mother is an industrial engineer, and she worked as an employee for many years. And you know, when I think about it, I always like my mom's job better, so I knew that was my route. Nothing about the mechanical engineering profession, but I just didn't
Yeah.
fall in love with everything my dad was doing. But in anyways, so icebreaker there. So we're going to continue in the same.
Don't get started with that topic, Marquito, between the industrial and mechanical
I
engineering.
knew that comment was coming. I knew
No,
it.
no, no,
I
no.
knew it. Marco, don't open that can of worms.
No, no discrimination against any character. Just that, you know, I didn't fall in love with all the jobs of my dad. But anyways, so and I love my dad, just to say. Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Christine. We're going to try to make it, 2-3 minutes so that we could make it dynamic. I know we have so much valuable information, but that way we could also cover multiple questions. So even though some of you might have had multiple transitions, I think I'm going to emphasize on the most significant one. And if I pick the one that it's incorrect, please, please let me know. I actually have a cheat sheet here of everyone's resume. So you should probably see in LinkedIn that I was hacking your accounts just to learn more about you. Although the word is not hacking, but anyway, it's talking probably. So Christine, stalking, yeah. So Christina, I want to say that your most significant industry transition was that one from the aerotol aviation into Gallagher. Is that a fair statement?
So very interesting selection there, Marquito. Aerotol aviation is actually a business, a side business that I have with my husband, and it is dedicated and specializes to perform AOGs, which is aircraft on ground, reverse engineering, so that jets and airplanes, aircraft are put back into airworthy and able to fly again. It's an FAA certified repair station. So we have the capability of fully certifying an airplane to take off. That aerotol aviation is a current endeavor, and definitely we're happy that we continue to foster it and flourish and grown. It's 1 out of 7 FAA repair stations to have the same certification, and so transition-wise, I still have my heart there as well. Currently, I am with Gallagher. I'm an area vice president for South Florida for health benefits and welfare for group and commercial accounts. That I think is the largest jump from engineering, but in reality, all the principles are there. You need to make sure that plan designs and compliance and processes are put in place. So there's a lot of principles that I take from engineering, from my master's in engineering management that I apply currently on a risk level. So again, very dynamic, but I still, aerotol aviation is an engineering company.
Perfect. So if we then rephrase it a little back and we go from what your experience prior to Gallagher, which is more probably aligned with your background in engineering, versus Gallagher, which is now risk management. I guess the question is, what led you to the transition? Is that a transition that an opportunity that you look for? Is that an opportunity that you came? And what really was the driving factor that says, you know what, let's go and do this?
So the reason why I transitioned into Gallagher is just being open to opportunities. I never say no to opportunities. And this was an opportunity that presented to elevate the conversation on a consulting level. That is a passion of mine, to consult. And whether you're consulting a system where you're putting together a process flow for an organization, or you're consulting an organization and what it needs, it's a different level of consulting. So that's why I was able to really endear the idea of moving over into risk management, because it's just elevating the conversation around consulting and being able to touch every single aspect of an organization.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna transition the mic to Leo now. So Leo, in your case, I mean, I want to say that you had a very successful career in American Express. You know, starting as an industrial engineering in 2008, and then moving to different in 2008, no, 2003.
2003, yeah.
And then moving to director roles and various VP roles, which I wasn't sure if they were different roles or they were more like name changes. But, you know, just looking at your profile, you know, you had a trajectory for success, and then suddenly you make this change to Target, which I know is in the financial retail services, which is connected. But, you know, first question than Christine, what led you to this change? Is this an opportunity that you were looking for? Is this an opportunity that came to you? And what were those driving factors that said, you know what, I'm going to do it?
Yeah, great question. So I think unlike what Christine shared, I actually wasn't that open to opportunities. So for many years, I was kind of just, you know, committed to American Express, loyal to American Express. I was growing very fast, and American Express was being developed. And I had, you know, my heart was with American Express. They helped me go from an international student, work visa to green card to like becoming a citizen. So, and it was a fun ride, a fast ride. In the blink, I would not have guessed I would have been there that long. But once you're in a company for a certain period of time, you kind of start to think you're going to retire from that company. So, so I was actually, you know, for years I would be reached out by recruiters, and I would just ignore those, you know, on LinkedIn. I would just not entertain them. I felt like I was, you know, loyal to Amex. I want to stay with Amex. I wanted to retire from Amex. But you know, last year with the pandemic, everything that was happening, and I wasn't seeing kind of a clear path for me past where I was. And Target reached out. Target recruitment reached out, kind of cold call, and you know, I was intrigued. I was open to the conversation. I spoke to the recruiter, and then one conversation led to another conversation. And before I knew it, I was interviewing with like, you know, 7 different senior vice presidents, and you know, like they kind of, you know, took me through a very rigorous process and a mutual process of exploration, like if there was a mutual fit, and then I took this opportunity, which was, you know, a larger scope in a new industry, and leading a global team as well. And you know, it was as hard as it was, and it was hard for me to make the decision. I haven't looked back once. It's been a great experience just to learn and just to prove also to myself that I can do more and in a place different than the one I grew up in for 18 years. So it's a little bit of the story there.
Thank you, Leo. So now I'm going to take great answer, by the way, from both you and Christine. So now I'm going to take it to Annette. Annette, similar to Leo, you also had a successful, you know, career in American Express. I mean, pretty much 14 years, starting as an industrial engineer in 2008, and then leaving in 2019 as a manager of global reengineering, and of course, you know, going through other transitions. So why the change between American Express and ADP? Were you recruited? Was it something that you were looking for? And what drove you to say, you know what, I'm up for this change?
So when I started in American Express, one of the things that I enjoyed the most was, you know, like being able to apply my core industrial engineering skills, right? It was very industrial engineering activities. But I was coming from a manufacturing company where I was a supervisor of people, right? So I have 40 people, from managing 40 people, a production line, moving into American Express, where I became an individual contributor, and I started doing a lot of industrial engineering. Within there, right, like I moved into different areas. Actually, I worked with Leo. I, as an industrial engineer, we got the highest recognition in the company, which was the Chairman Innovation Chairman Award, right? Because we were able to use lean manufacturing process, like techniques to improve a completely servicing process, right? So doing that, What I always had very clear is that I like to work with people. I'm a people leader. I like to help people grow. I like to guide people to accomplish something. So in my last project there, I was able, with the pandemic, I was able to drive a huge change management globally, right? So I work with different locations, Mexico, Philippines, India. And although that was the moment where I realized I like to be close to the people, I like the operational side, right? But then I was like, okay, going back to manufacturing, like there's not many manufacturing companies in South Florida, how I can transition back into that. So this opportunity came by me and the network. And I want to say that the network that you build is very important, right? With people that you work with. And one of my networks worked there. And I said, I want to go back to operations. I want to go back to lead people, metrics, make sure that the organization is moving on the right direction, because then I can apply some process improvement, which is another thing that I enjoy the most. So this opportunity came up and a director position opened up where they needed somebody to manage the operation, like the cost center and the case management for a list and compliance area in the ADP. When I went to the interview process, they explained what they do, how they manage the operation. I say, like, this is what I really, it's part of me. I think it's a great opportunity where I can bring what I have learned from American Express, which is the call center experience that I didn't have before, right? But then managing the people, I had it even before, like from my previous manufacturing company. So that made me decide to go back, and Leo can speak on that. I always was going with to Leo in Amex saying, I want to go to operations, and we always look for an opportunity within the company, but there was nothing that really would be using my skills, right? Because it was more like a supervisor. I was not going to be able to use like my industrial engineering skills, right? So it was like, you're going to gain something, but you're going to lose something else. In this position, I'm able to bring both. And that's why I'm like, I think it's the right moment for the change, because it's my dream job in a way, based on the description. I've been doing it for 4 months, and I can tell you, I'm applying like the people skills, I'm applying the people leader, I'm applying the metrics, I'm applying the process improvement already in just 4 months that I've been part of it.
Thank you, Annette. Great answer.
Yeah.
So, Hugo, I'm gonna give the mic to you. I know that in your case, even though you work for FedEx for a good 14 years, I think I'm gonna emphasize it more on PriceSmart and BD, because that's your most recent one. But if you prefer to talk about FedEx, we could also, go to that one. But if we were to focus on PriceSmart, you worked there for 9 years, last as a logistics and distribution project manager. And then, in the blink of an eye, you are now working with BD, a company that's headquartered in Miami, and you're now supply chain solutions manager. So same questions. How did the opportunity come? What led you to make the decision?
Oh man, I like that when you say in the blink of an eye. and I tell you this. So I have my own philosophy as far as you cannot stop learning. There's so much out there, especially with technology. And at my last role at PriceSmart, I was heavily involved in rolling out new technologies to support logistics and distribution operations. So when I look back at my career path, I started again, and like I said, in UPS, FedEx, that ground delivery part of the business, right? As far as that logistics component, right? But then I was able to also support airport operations, right? And then when I landed in PriceSmart, I started dealing more with ocean movement of ocean containers, throughout the world, inbound from anywhere in Asia and so forth. So to me, when I saw this new opportunity at BD, I was like, wow, now I'm pretty much uniting everything that I have learned out through all these years. I have the ground, I have the air, I have the ocean. I have now I could see basically how goods move throughout the supply chain, right? And BD actually, if anything, they had heavily invested on what they call a control tower, right? It's a platform actually that it enables for anybody within a supply chain organization to see what your product is at any point in time. And the technology behind in the back end, it's just amazing. The integration, it's, oh man, it's way out there, right? I've been there almost, this is my fifth week or sixth week. I forgot already. I feel like I've been there 10 years. but again, you know, going back to that, I'm always hungry for learning and experiencing new things. I mean, in technology and industrial engineering, they go hand in hand as far as, you know, making things better. I'm grateful to work with side to side with people that are heavy, also heavy duty, with a heavy duty background in IT, but also with people that have the supply chain management knowledge. And myself as an IEM PM, I think we do we have a very good team together to continue on that evolution, right? And our big slogan of the company is advancing the world of health, right? We want to have a positive impact on patients, right? Because at the end of this whole thing, I mean, all we do is we manufacture medical devices, right? And that there's somebody there at a hospital or whatever that it's waiting for that, right? So from the supply chain standpoint, it's our job to make sure that that product gets there on time. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm sure there will be some more challenges coming ahead. And I don't know if 5-6 years from now there'll be another blink of an eye, right? But I think BD does offer also, you know, lots of tracks. It's a big company, and it has a huge supply chain organization that, you know, does offer actually the opportunity to move around and continue learning and evolving. Can't stop learning. I mean, that's always been my motivation. Thank you.
Thank you, Huguito.
Mhm.
So, you know, while I'm asking these questions, you see Caro that she's like typing something in the computer and doing the magic. And Caro is analyzing all the feedback and putting it into the software and saying, Marco, these are the conclusions, go and shoot them. So I'm just going to read a few of the conclusions that Caro raised to me. And you know, I'm in agreement with those, Caro. The first one is that opportunity will knock your door when you least expect it. And it's in that moment when, you know, you make a decision of, do I make this change or do I not make it? Yeah. The fact that you did, you know, prove that you are not afraid of the change. And that doesn't mean that it was an easy decision, but, you know, you took for it. It's probably a decision made of principle, made of a combination of many variables, and it has you where you are. And from the answers that you said, particularly the one from Leo, which is the one that, you know, it's most salient right now, from all the speeches, verbatim, you said something like, I haven't looked back since. And it doesn't mean that you had a bad experience in any way, shape, or form in your prior role, but it only reiterates the fact that you feel very good about it. So I commend you all for, you know, taking the courage to make that decision and having worked the best out of that decision. I think that, you know, it's a good message that we want to transmit to everyone here in the audience, because we, at any point in life, will face those crossroads in a good way. And, you know, it's at that point in which going one direction over the other makes a significant difference, even if it's throughout the time and not something immediate. Is that like a fair statement? Because if it is, I want to give a round of applause to Caro, because she's the one doing all these predictive analysis here.
Yeah, right. I love that.
You're on point. You're exactly on point. And just to add to what you just said, Marquito, I feel that the base is so strong that we can easily adapt and reinvent ourselves in a different industry, but still applying the same principles and knowledge. So I feel that that's a key differentiator, really, because the skills and analytical skills and the knowledge that you gain are just so strong and so adaptable in different industries that's why, like it's been said, we're able to transition, and engineers are able to easily transition into different industries successfully.
Agree. And I love how you use the word adapt, because by nature, you know, we all adapt to change. You know, today we live with two things, tomorrow we could live with one. And you know, today we live in the most fun weather, or at least for me. And if tomorrow we have to go and live in the cold weather, next thing we know, we're up to the cold weather, even though it might not be our preference, but we keep going. So on that train of thought, the second question is about, getting prepared for that role. So I'm sure a lot of you have read the book or heard the book, The First 90 Days, which, by the way, now has a sequel, which is Master Your Next Move. And, all these books, focus on the fact that there hasn't been much literature about preparing employees for the next level. And then this book comes with, examples and approaches of, different scenarios in which you could encounter in your next move, and how to handle with it, and how others have handled, etc. So, with that in mind, and not to get into all the details, can you share with us, with all the decisions that you had, or the variables that you had to take in hand, what was your game plan when you said, okay, this is an opportunity to start from zero, to go from great to the greatest, and to, prove to myself more than to anyone else that I'm going to enjoy this and be successful at it. So in a quick glance, and Christine, to start with you, what was your game plan when you had that opportunity as a fresh start to, to do something different and be successful at it?
So great question, Marquito. I think the motivation behind starting a new role in a new industry is really the thrill of the challenge. I think that by nature, engineers have that competitiveness of doing better, and not necessarily with peers, but with themselves. So I feel it's the thrill of the challenge that you can achieve the goal of adapting and reinventing. And so I think the biggest motivation for me personally has just been, this is a new challenge, a new phase. Let's, look into our skill set, our toolbox, and apply what we have, which are, as I mentioned earlier, adaptable skills, and become something completely different, because that will give an insight and a different angle into what you're doing that has never been seen before. I feel that adapting into a new industry, having that foundation as your education, gives you an edge that not typically you see it in the industry, and gives the ability to thrive among others. So again, the challenge for me.
No, that's a great answer. And it tells me that all the motivation and the energy was pretty much part of your game plan during that process. And it helped you to spearhead it and move it, the way you pretty much wanted it. So thank you, Christine. I think Christine might have been frozen. Perfect. Oh, no, she's back. Perfect. So thank you, Christine. So Leo, I'm going to move to you again. Successful career track, American Express. You took this role, again, semi-different industry, or different industry, of course, by the nature. So what was your game plan to say, I'm going to be successful at this new challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot. So funny you should mention the first 90 days, because that is the book I read cover to cover in the window between leaving Amex and joining Target. And it was so helpful. So highly recommend it. And I had read it during a career transition at Amex early in my career, over a decade ago. But then I took the opportunity to reread it, and it was enlightening, to say the least. And my leader at Target is a big believer in that, because she also moved a ton through her career at Walmart, and Target hired her and all of that. So like, it gave us language to also talk about, the approach to the transition, which she expected of the role. So it was very, very powerful tool. And then another book of What Got You Here Won't Get You There. But the other thing that, anybody going through a transition, either in a company, outside of the company, like just staying true to your core, like your core strengths. Like I benefited from a lot of leadership development at Amex, and like Myers-Briggs, Strength Finder, this, like just kind of understanding myself, what makes me unique, what makes me kind of, what are my strengths, what I like, what I don't like, and like showing up. One thing that Target does have, and it's part of the culture, is like show up as your authentic self. Even my leader says, like, just be you. Everybody else is already taken. And that, having that ability and that empowerment and that freedom to just be me and show up as me, flaws and all, and like, and be embraced by the culture, and that's been very refreshing to me. So I would say just one piece of advice is just lean in and double down on what makes you unique, what your competitive advantage is, what has proven to be successful in the past. And the last thing I would say is, I went into, having been at Amex as long as I would see leaders come from the outside, all guns blazing, like, this is how we did it in my own company, and trying to instill change and all of that. And I'm like, I don't want to be that leader. Coming into a company, I have to honor the culture, the people, and all of that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna offer my ideas or my opinions or my strategy, or this is how Amex did it. And it's been much harder than you would think, like, because all the knowledge I have, all the experience, all the know-how, and I am in the service center environment at Target, and I came from a long career of service center transformation at Amex. So I have to be very intentional and very self-conscious to hold myself back from offering the idea or the solution or the thought, or this is how Amex would solve this problem. So, it's just something that takes intentionality and takes effort, because, you kind of just tend to blurt it out. And just something I wanted to share as a reflection that's happened to me. So.
And I'm glad that you brought that example, Leo, about pretty much implementing the same model that has worked in one place into others, because yes, for some it could work, for some it could not work. I mean, of course, it's a function of many variables, and if time allows, we'll talk more about it. But great answer, so thank you. So I'm gonna take it to Annette. So Annette, you made this change on something that you really wanted, because you want to go back to operations. You wanted to apply, the knowledge that you have back to people and to the opportunities that you were seeking. So what was your game plan? I know you had all this energy, but okay, how do you implement that game plan?
Yeah. And I love about what Leo said, because let's be honest, we're studying into a new company where you are asked for a specific task, right? Like you are brought there because you're gonna bring something. And sometimes there's people there that apply for your role, right? And you're gonna encounter those things, and how you challenge that. So how you can move forward without showing like I know more than the people that are here or something, right? So how they can see you as that you're gonna add value. So I use the same thing that Leo did. I'm like, actually how I hear my strengths finders, right? Like I have that very clear about how I can help them. And I try to show that. I try to show them who I am, right? And how I'm there to help, more than to kind of conquer or change what they already have put in place, right? I help them to see with different eyes the opportunities that they have that probably they haven't noticed, right? And there's, I always, every morning I was thinking, okay, I need to, how I'm gonna approach this, how I'm gonna position it to them. I always was in a question, in a way more, like how I can help you with this if we do it this way. And people were taking it a little bit different. We're taking it like, oh yeah, she doesn't want to impose something. She's taking me into consideration, right? Because that's a little bit of a challenge. So what I wanted to do is that, for me first was like trying to understand. Sometimes we come with that energy and we start noticing the opportunities like this because we have a new set of eyes. And you go into a meeting and you're like, but why they're doing this like this? And those are the first thing, and they should do it this way, right? But then the plan is try to understand why things are done that way, and how you can come up with a strategy about making it different. And my strategy was always letting them know I'm core engineer, I like process improvement, and let's do it together. So I always bring my team with me so they can be part of it. It's not me imposing anything, it's just a collaborative effort. And that's one of my strengths. I'm an includer. So I make sure that everybody participates, that everybody's listened. And that's what I've been working so far. And I like that that my strategy is just, I'm part of you, I'm coming to help you, I'm not coming to change you.
Thank you, Ned. I think that's a great point, and that's a way also to get the trust from all others, because that's a key component in any transition.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna give the mic to Hugo, and Hugo has been texting me and saying that he probably deserves 1 more minute. So I'm not sure. But but I know Hugo, all his movements are planned out. He's been planning for future, and he's a very calculated, person, a great person and friend, by the way. So Hugo, I was just playing with
Right.
you, but Hugo, what was your game plan? You mentioned that, which resonated with me, that you combine different experiences, land, air, sea. I think I remember what some of your
Right.
words, and you
Yep.
knew that coming to this opportunity will bring the things that you exercise for the last X amount of years, because we don't need to tell the people how many years of experience you have.
No.
So, so what was so what was your game plan? How did
I
that all work out? I know it's only been 1 month, but it doesn't matter.
No, yeah, there's always a game plan. By the way, those books that Leo was referring to, I mean, they're awesome. I mean, they're definitely actually set some kind of framework or outlines, pretty much like a path that you could follow, right? And I took some of that. This is again, the role I'm at right now. It's new, right? It was just created. But I tell you this. I want to piggyback on something that Leo said that resonated a lot, as well as Annette. Listening, taking a humble approach, right? Because you walking into a place that, I mean, as big as they are, and they also have plenty of opportunities. And sometimes you're just listening, and that's has been actually the first 2-3 weeks is just listening. What they call it, the BD way of doing business. All right. But then I also have managers that I work with, actually, I say, Hugo, you know what? Yeah, there's a BD way, but there's also another way of doing things, right? So feel free to add, and I always say, hey, I might have a dumb question here, but here I am. But bottom line is listening on, and trying to understand why is that they do things in a certain way, right? And I think little by little is when you start actually bringing all and combining all that experience and offering what you can offer based on that experience that you have built across so many years, right? But yeah, I bank a lot on that. I'm still in that period. I call it the honeymoon period, right? Because you in a way, somebody was saying, hey, Hugo, right now you're forgiven to make dumb mistakes right now. And I said, hey, I'll take that card. but yeah, I think with this experience, I mean, we got to leverage it. All right. And identify your weak spots, because you're walking into a brand new environment where you may not be familiar with all the technology and all that stuff that is there. So work on it, right? Identify those weak spots, relationship building, networking. Okay. I mean, to me, that was part of my plan for those first 30 days. Okay. Understanding where I'm at. I'm in a brand new environment. So I need to know, who are these people? Who am I talking to? I'm remote 100%. So can you imagine building relationships where before I could just walk in here and talk to, hey, let's have a cup of coffee, let's have a water? No. Everything is now done through this way and doing face to face. Some people, as a matter of fact, don't even turn on their cameras for whatever reason. But hey, so it is challenging. But hey, as I said earlier, right? It's all about learning and leveraging these new experiences to take you to the next level, right? That's my plan. But yeah, I still have more to go, actually, based on that outline that I mentioned earlier. I'm on my 5th week right now, and there's more to come. So.
Thank you, Hugo. So, the fact that time went so fast, that means that, the conversation was very much engaging. So, I want to be respectful of everyone's times, because I know we all have different personal and professional commitments. But before we go, and, we could probably even plan a part 2, because there's so many questions in our outline that we didn't even cover. But even before, we entertained that idea, we first, wanted to say thank you to the guest speakers, because your interest in participating and sharing your success stories are of great benefit to everyone here in our audience. And number two, I commend and congratulate you again for, making that decision and living up to that decision and moving forward. And it's obvious to us that it was a good decision and that you are doing very well. And then the next thing is, and I know we only have a few minutes, but if someone has a few questions or a short question that you want to ask someone in particular before they leave, this is your last elevator pitch, so shoot for it. So questions, anyone?
Yeah, I have a question. My name is Alex. I got to know Marco recently with a friend of mine at a basketball game. So I have I don't know who the right person to ask this question is. I'm trying to decide who.
I think he got muted.
Yeah, I think Alex got muted.
Definitely, I love the suspense.
Oh, so Alex, you there?
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Yes.
I just said it's really hard to pick a person to ask the question to because everyone has such interesting experiences on this panel. But I will say that I'm not an engineer. I'm a statistics guy, and I've done statistics for a lot of different companies. And I'm in a situation right now where I'm head of the department that I can do all these statistics, but no one understands what I do, and they don't really appreciate what I do. And I guess that happens a lot in different companies. And so I guess my question, I guess I'll give it to Leo then, because my brother's in the credit card business, and we talk about this a lot. And I just wanted to know, if you realize that you have a certain skill set, right? And you're in a place where that skill set really is not being used, or it's not being appreciated, or you don't see the company taking value from what you can do, right, as a professional. So, how do you think about your next move and taking what you have and knowing that you've accumulated a lot of different knowledge over the years and trying to prospect a place where you can see yourself working more long term? And I actually have a couple of friends in the banking industry that say, hey, my goal in life is to find a company where I can work 10 years at. So I don't know. That's the question I have.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal question, Alex, and thank you for asking it. I would say, it comes down to who we are at the core is far more comprehensive than what we went to school for, the title we have, the company we're a part of, the jobs we've done. I think all of us have God-given talents and unique talents that are, broader than education and the portable talents that will serve us well anywhere we go. I never would have thought in a million years that I would go from financial services to retail. And here I am, and I'm loving it. So, but I'm not doing engineering work anymore. I mean, I went to school for engineering, but I know who I am at the core, what, how I show up as a leader, what I like, what I enjoy. So I think going through that journey of exploration, self-awareness, doing some of those assessments, and really exploring what makes you unique and what makes you enjoy what you do, then you find the next thing is just get active and look for opportunities that match that. So don't retrofit yourself to a job or a company, but try to find the place that is going to make you thrive, and kind of be able to show up and that could be anything. You'll be surprised by what that might be. And some people have been known to go into sports or ministry or nonprofit or whatever. So just try, my advice is try to kind of discover who you are at the core, what makes you energized, and then try to pursue that. It's kind of my advice.
Perfect. No, thank you. That's awesome. I never thought about it that way. That's really cool.
And Alex, if I can just also give you my 2 cents, I personally feel sometimes communication is key. So just set clear expectations of what you would like, of what you envision never be shy to let them know where do you want to go, and be surrounded by those that will empower you and help you get to that next level. I feel that you could see it as two options: is the glass half full or half empty? And if you're going to be positive about it, I would be very intentional with your actions and your communication with your superiors, and just make sure you let them know, look, my heart, my aspiration, my goal is to be in this, other position. And I feel that my tools, X, Y, and B, can definitely take us there and really make an impact. So just be very intentional with the communication. Don't expect that people are going to read your mind, because most of the time it's just, they're not. So make sure that you're having the right communication.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Understood.
So great question, Alex. Thank you, and great seeing you. So it's too fortunate that time happens just that fast. But I've been here in part two. I've been here in part two in person. So maybe we could entertain a few of those ideas. Now that things are thankfully getting better. So I think I want to stop at this moment again to give time back to the speakers. Thank you very much. Before we leave, we always ask to see if we could get a photo, a team photo. If you could turn on the camera, even more fun. But if you can't, because you are doing things right now, we certainly understand. Caro, which is our main photographer, takes two photos. One is like the professional LinkedIn photo, and the other one is like the Instagram photo with filters and fun faces and all those things. So so Caro, the camera is yours. I think we're all smiling. So when you ready, when you are.
1 second. Oh, there is Jorge. Hey, Jorge. Nice to see you.
Nice seeing you guys.
Think we have 24 people in the call. It'd be nice if we can get some more happy faces to show up in this picture and see how many people were here.
I think what Caro's trying to say, it'd be lovely if everybody gets on the camera for a quick smile and a quick picture.
There we go. Thanks for that. Okay, so just give me 1 second. Okay.
Good?
God is working on the lights and those things. Let's give her time. She's an artist.
I was just trying to hide the boxes without pictures.
No.
Finding the setting now, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the picture now. So in 5, 4, 3. All right, so this is the serious one, and now you give me 1 second. Let me say this.
We're moving from LinkedIn to Instagram right now, or TikTok.
We are not on TikTok yet, although if the demand comes for us to be on TikTok, we'll definitely be on TikTok too.
Oh gosh.
I mean, we gotta do what the customers demand,
Yeah,
right?
well, that's right.
Miguel has been putting our ads in TikTok, so that's good. Thank you, Miguel.
Oh man.
All right, so
Okay. Caro, we're ready when you are.
okay, but remember, this is a funny picture where your personalities need to come through. So this is not business-like. This is, there we go.
Yes,
People had a great idea. Well, I remember now that this is our, there we go.
About a year ago.
So,
Ready when you are.
okay, just hold on 1 second because we lost somebody and she's asking me to let her in again so she can be in the picture. So give me 1 second. I'm trying to multitask here. Oh,
Let's see.
Don't
I
we
like
all know about multitasking? Huh?
I like this effect.
There we go. See,
See,
I love it.
Yeah,
So,
we're just playing with the.
okay, so here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. All right.
Thank you, everyone. We've shared in the invitation the LinkedIn profiles of the speakers. Speakers, if you give me the authorization, we encourage the audience to reach you if they have questions. And we look forward to connecting soon again in person if we could do it, if not via this meeting. So thank you.
Okay,
good.
so
Thank you.
one
Thank
last
you,
thing I
everyone.
want to mention before we are gone is I think you all liked this event, and we are exploring a part 2. So I'm going to be sending you all a survey for you guys to provide your voice of the customer. So if you can tell us how much you like this event and you want to repeat this or anything else that interests you, please share your feedback with us so we can bring events that will provide value to you. So thank you so much for your time and engagement.
Thank you,
all.
everyone.
Thank you,
Awesome. Thank you
Maria,
so
for
much.
the invite.
Thanks.
Bye,
Good
Good night.
Good
Bye,
Good
everybody.
night. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good job. Bye.
Good job.